Hello and welcome to Wonder WhyZ everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. My name is Soham and let's just jump into it because in this video we are going to talk about Boruto manga chapter 60. It's that time of the month. It's that time of the month once again when we are going to talk about this chapter. And as usual, this is just a prediction stream. I usually make these videos directly on YouTube, but this time around I'm trying out Twitch as well. I will obviously be uploading this video to YouTube as well, but this is sort of an experiment. Now, mostly I want to focus this particular chapter based upon my predictions for last chapter because I think that those things are still going to hold up pretty well. Because mostly in that particular prediction video for that is for chapter 59, I talked about how the focus should be around Orochimaru and involving Kashin Koji into the mix as well. That really didn't happen that much, but I feel like there's still precedence for something like that to happen before the eventual time skip. Obviously, the time skip is a very big question or a contender for this entire conversation so far, but I just feel like there's more to it. I definitely do not feel like the time skip is going to come around just in the next one or two chapters. After seeing the events of chapter 59, I definitely feel like the time skip is going to be a delayed, like little bit delayed. So let's talk about that. And in the meantime, welcome to the stream, Akshat. Thank you so much for joining in. And okay, so the first thing which I want to talk about is the time skip here. I don't honestly feel like the time skip is coming in coming around chapter maybe say something like 62, 63, or even 64. I think it is going to be delayed a bit because now we have a clear-cut goal that Code and Ada are definitely going to arrive on Konoha and they're definitely going to, attack Konoha, attack Naruto, attack Boruto, attack Kawaki. Not Kawaki, obviously, he's the quote-unquote prince of Ada, but you get the point. You get my point, obviously, here. So in order for something like that to happen, basically, we need some setup, we need some ground rules which need to be established first. We need to see some more action from the parts of Daemon as well as Ada, and only after that can we actually jump into the actual bit of the time skip. So let's see how things eventually proceed here. And before that also, like before actually coming to that part, I feel like some more uh, explanation or a little more information dump is required for the powers of Code, and maybe some form of a more exposition dump, especially in regards to the Otsutsuki god caricature. That's personally what I'm leaning forward towards currently. But coming out from the side of these characters, these villains, I think that we have explored the villains for quite a while now. Each and every single chapter right now, we are just talking about these new villains which are coming up. First it was with Ada, now it was with Daemon. So it's fine, we have seen quite a lot of the villains, but now we need some more parts from the, like some more bits from the heroes, especially Konoha and even the other nations, like other nations of the world like Sunagakura and everything else. They are just sidelined right now. I don't think the manga can actually revive them for that matter. I think that the anime is actually going to talk about them more. But even then, I feel like the series, at least this chapter, has to show some focus upon the heroes, especially in relation to the character of Sasuke. I know that Naruto's bit about him trying to find the Ten Tails is going to come up later on. That is definitely going to happen before he eventually is sent off to X location via Kawaki. But before that, he has to at least try to find out the new Ten Tails. But beyond that, I think that the interaction between Sasuke and Orochimaru has to happen. Like that's a given. That's an absolute given that has to happen sometime down the road. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining in, that Indian anime girl. Yeah, you had not followed me up until this point, but thank you so much for following. All right. Beyond that, what can we say? The bit about Sasuke is done. He has to interact with Orochimaru. Let's be real about that. And if at all, even this chapter doesn't really talk about Orochimaru, then I will be really disappointed. I will be really disappointed. Orochimaru has to come back into the scene, especially now that we have all these different medical parts and even, um, you know, everything else which is basically being talked about with the new karma, the secondary karma, the white karma, and whatnot. It's kind of sad that all the other characters kind of getting sidelined now because of Boruto and Kawaki. I understand that they are the central characters, but even beyond them, there are other characters, even from the newer generation. I'm not just talking about the older generation cast. I'm not just hyping up about Naruto, Sasuke, and the others. But at the same time, I feel like this is the perfect time, almost perfect time, for Kashin Koji to have an interaction with none other than Orochimaru. We might have a realistic scenario, like we can imagine in our heads that maybe Kashin Koji is going to have an interaction with Naruto, but unfortunately, I don't think that is going to happen just right now. I have a feeling that this particular scenario, this particular thing is going to be more aligned towards the anime, because now that we know that the anime is going to add a karma arc, anime canon arc based upon the karma, based upon Boruto's karma, like Otsutsukification. So I feel like something like that, some sort of a like anime canon arc could be explored for Kashin Koji and Naruto. But at least for the manga right now, that is, especially considering manga chapter 60, I feel like the interaction between Orochimaru and Kashin Koji should happen at this very moment. So these are my predictions, my main predictions for the chapter so far. So as a, what should I say, consolidating all these different things, I should say the following. I expect to see some sort of an update from Kashin Koji, whether it is in the form of Orochimaru, whether it is in the form of Konoha, or it is in the form of Amado. That has to be dealt with, or that has to be shown here. And on the topic of Amado, I've already made 2 separate videos about Amado and what exactly should be, like, I feel like is his real goals. I will highly advise you all to check out both these videos. I mean, it's not really a spoiler at this point because you all are reading the manga, but my point of view here is that Amado is most probably a separate alien species, not the Otsutsuki clan member, but a totally separate alien whose home planet was most likely destroyed by the Otsutsuki clan members, and he has likely come to Earth like as a sort of a vengeance, like as a plan of vengeance, and he's utilizing the resources of Earth to take down the Otsutsuki clan members. He definitely has his own motivations behind these things that was very much hinted to us towards the end of chapter 59. And similarly, there is a chance that Sumire has some sort of an involvement in this plot. And once again, I'm going to talk about Orochimaru here. I just feel like he's very much essential for this particular plot. He should be involved into the scenes. He might be the person who is basically like a linking point between the sides of Amado because of his research and medical ninjutsu, scientific ninjutsu specializations, and on the other hand with Kashin Koji as well. So I feel like Orochimaru is kind of the central linking point between all the different factions of the manga right now. That is the one part, and the other part is in relation to the time skip. I don't think it is going to come up just right now, and at the same time, I don't think that Code and Ada are going to attack Konoha just right now, just at this very moment. It seems kind of very quick and very unnecessary. Not unnecessary. Unnecessary is not the correct word. I feel like it would be too quick and too hasteful. And without any proper planning. That is my point of view at this moment. I mean, sure, the manga can just speed run through things and like bring about the invasion plot right now, but I don't think it would be, properly implementable if something like that is happening. Like, it would be too fast without a proper setup. They need a setup. I mean, they just established a new character called Demon who has these OP powers. We need to see more of him. We need to explore more of him before we see them invading into Konoha. Akshat says the whole cast is sidelined. Yeah, that's the same thing. And plot twist, Naruto leaves the village for training with Kashin Koji. Boruto stays in the village. Yeah, I mean, that would be really dope, but I don't think that is going to happen. But yeah, you did bring about a good point about Naruto training. This has been not just my theory, this has been a pretty common theory in the fandom since the days of original Boruto, that Naruto has to have a training. Naruto has to train, especially now that Kurama is gone. There has to be some sort of a new power up for Naruto. I know that people will say that this is not going to be mostly plausible, because the very reason why Kurama and the Rinnegan were removed from the story is in order to nerf Naruto and Sasuke, not as a thematic scheme, but mostly to move the story forward now that Sasuke does not have the space time ninjutsu. But even then, I don't think like they should be like totally depowered or anything like that. Naruto still has the Sage mode, so the most likely scenario at this moment should be a higher or more advanced version of the Sage mode, a Sage mode stage 2, if you will. That could be the case. That could genuinely be the case. Honestly, Sage mode is a very underutilized plot point, in my opinion, since the moment from the very moment KCM was introduced into the story. Sage mode has kind of lost its importance, but that should not be the case. The Sage mode power up is a really epic thing. Just imagine if Naruto could maybe like do or obtain a Sage mode similar to Hashirama. That would be really epic. At the same time, what about Mitsuki? That could be easily implemented into the story. The anime has already done it. They have already explored Mitsuki's Sage mode, so why not just add that particular bit into the manga as well? And lastly, since we are talking about the anime, as you can see in the very picture of this video as well, let's talk about Boruto himself, because apparently Jogan is not a proper thing right now, because the anime, especially this past weekend, showed off the Borushiki form, and it seems like this is not really the Jogan which a lot of people are expecting to see in the anime. It is definitely the Byakugan. So especially for chapter 60, I hope to see some form of an update in regards to this particular Dojutsu Eye. I mean, it would be maybe too fast to talk about it right now, but we need some sort of an update. We need some sort of an update in regards to the Otsutsuki situation. And the same goes for the character of Toneri Otsutsuki as well. He has been foreshadowed and sort of implemented into the story from time and time again. He has been foreshadowed to be a part of Boruto's story as a whole, but we have not really seen much of him. So I expect to see, or I expect to, I expect the story to introduce the plot point of Tonri sometime down the line. He has to be involved into the story, especially with Boruto into the mix. It can be about Jogan, it can be about Byakugan, it can be about, Tenseigan, it can be about any sort of a dojutsu or anything for that matter. But the story has to involve him once again. So yeah, let's see what happens. Animebus, thank you so much for following. And yeah, Animebus says here that maybe Hagoromo returns and gives Naruto the power. I don't really think that the Sage of Six Path can appear at this particular moment, and even if he appears, what exactly can he realistically do right now? Will he just ask all the other tail beasts to come to Naruto and share their powers to him? I mean, if needed, if the situation is really like that, Naruto can actually call forth the powers of the other tail beasts, and if the situation is actually grim enough, I do believe that the tail beasts are actually going to help him. It's not like they are going to be selfish enough to not really help him. I'm not talking about being a Jinchuriki, but rather just temporarily lending their powers to him. The Byron mode had the opportunity to implement something like that. Like, if you have been an old school Naruto fan, you have obviously seen the fan arts of Naruto being a 10-tailed Jinchuriki. I don't really want him to be a Jinchuriki yet again, but rather I just want him to temporarily have the powers of the other tail beasts. So yeah, that might be the case. But even beyond that, I have already talked about that in a separate video which I made a couple of months back. I definitely feel like an upcoming big mission for Hokage Naruto is to explore the new 10-tail beast, and in order to do something like that, he definitely needs the help as well as the power of the other tail beasts, especially Shukaku and all the other people, all the other tail beasts. He definitely needs their chakra in order to trace this huge 10-tailed beast. That is my prediction at this moment, and that is all I basically wanted to talk about in relation to Boruto manga chapter 60. Once again, I don't feel like the time skip is going to come in this chapter, the next chapter for that matter. It has to wait. There has to be more setup for things like that. And this is basically what I wanted to talk about. If you guys have any other inputs, let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat. Akshat says, I feel like the anime is going on a different tangent right now. Not exactly tangent, but yeah, especially with Sada's three Tomo Sharingan, that bit was kind of disappointing in a way, but then again, what can we even do right now? I will make a separate video in regards to Sada's three Tomo Sharingan situation, so stay tuned for that as well, because apparently we are going to get a separate anime canon arc for that. Most probably, most probably. So that's it, I guess. Akshat lastly says he can use the powers of all the tail beasts separately, like yeah. I mean, not using the powers of the Rinnegan, but because he was a prior Jinchuriki and because he has the contact, he is basically the contact point for all the other tail beasts. He can summon in the tail beast dimension, and he can just lend the powers temporarily. He has already been using lava style Rasengans and all the other different style Rasengans, so why not? Why not? So anyway, this is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll see you all on the next one. This was a very quick stream which I just wanted to do for the YouTube channel as well. This video is definitely going up on the YouTube channel, so follow me here on Twitch, twitch.tv/Wonder WhyZ, and follow me on my Discord channels as well. Links are in the description below. Follow Wonder WhyZ Discord as well as follow the Naruto fanbase Discord as well for some very exciting stuff. With that being said, guys, this is Wonder WhyZ. My name is Soham, and thank you so much for joining in. I'll see you on the next one.